What's up, Bombshells? Welcome to Bombshell1111 Podcast, Therapy for Women of Color. My name is Keya, and I'm your host. Generally, podcasts request donations, but I want you to show love by simply subscribing to my social media platforms by visiting my website at www.bombshell1111podcast.com. I want to see thousands of subscribers on this platform. Leave your comments and I'll show love by shouting you out on my social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. I want to thank you for your continued support as always. And with that being said, let's jump into this new episode. Bombshell1111 Podcast Speak on a Series. This platform encourages, educates, uplifts, and creates game-changing women and men by addressing both external and internal challenges that women and men both face in the world. I'm Keya, and I'm your host. I also have my co-host here with me tonight.
I'm Ashlee Lafavor. I am your empowerment life coach, leader. I help women embrace their authentic selves.
I'm Shontae. My Instagram handle is Our Mother and Stuff, and I'm the owner of Our Mother and Stuff LLC, fertility doula, and family coach.
Hello, everyone. I am KiannaD, a confidence and mindfulness coach, and I am here to serve.
Welcome, ladies. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well.
Good.
So, ladies,
Excellent.
let's go ahead, ladies, and jump right in. We have a lot of great news, information for the audience to hear tonight. So let's go ahead and jump right in with tonight's first topic, which will be health education and wellness. Go ahead and jump right in, ladies.
All right. So I found a report on that has to do with mental health and the COVID-19 pandemic. An innovative program is coming about to help people with mental health and substance abuse problems, and for a major expansion as the COVID-19 pandemic deepens its struggle with drug use, depression, and anxiety for many Americans. Community behavioral health clinics offer 24/7 services to catch people falling in this and pull them back. One involves deploying peer counselors who have lived and survived their own trauma. Launched in the Obama administration, the clinics actually got scaled up under the Donald Trump. That's not in political polarized times. Now, as the Democrats haggle over the details of how to deliver President Joe Biden's domestic agenda, some backers see that the mammoth bill as the best vehicle for a major expansion of the clinics. The estimated cost is close to $3 billion, which is not huge in the context of the $3.5 trillion budget which was targeted and set by the Senate. But with competing priorities, nothing is guaranteed. Everyone says, I'm advocating that this be a part of any healthcare package that moves in the Senate. This can be the COVID-19 pandemic is blamed for nearly a 30% rise in overdose deaths just last year. And other indicators show marked increases in anxiety and depression. Young adults and adolescents are of particular concern. So what are your thoughts on this, ladies?
That's deep. It's really deep because like the mental, that's deep.
And I'm just viewing different news stories, we see it so much, especially with landlords also. I read an article today with my mom that this landlord just pretty much snapped and killed all of his tenants because of the pandemic and they weren't paying and all that. And naturally, like, his family is like, well, this is kind of like out of the ordinary, or whatever. But he just snapped, and one of the tenants survived, and they remember him saying, like, "Oh, you guys can't run from me now," and he's like laughing, like he completely just lost his mind. Like, everyone has been just really, 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 really suffering, in many different ways. And this year, I definitely see that as manifesting. So.
Yeah, and I can see it manifesting more now, especially with this new Delta variant that's coming out. Well, that is already out, and was pretty much backtracking to where we were before when COVID initially started. But I can just foresee it with schools closing, and just within the first couple of weeks of already having to close back down due to kids contracting COVID, teachers. I can kind of foresee that escalating and getting more and more.
It's gonna get worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. I agree.
Yeah.
Now, my thing is, will these counselors be able to reach people in time? If that's the case, that's the loneliness that's keeping people, even more depressed, more anxious. Like, how do we combat it so that way we don't feel the? Go ahead, sis. I didn't want to cut you off.
No. I agree with you. I think it's like you say, how are people going to get to them? Because if we do go back in quarantining and all of that stuff, that's going to really, the suicide rates and the mental health. I mean, it's already bad. So we just like, wow.
I agree, because I think if someone just, with me, and I don't have any mental health issues, I'm a social butterfly though. I love being around people. I'm used to being around people. So with COVID happening and having to be isolated, and then with me living out of state from my family, that was really tough for me. So not just having, someone I can go and visit and things like that, that was really hard. So I definitely can foresee that being exactly what you said, Ashlee, Kianna, and Shontae, ongoing issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because then also, because then it's like the government, okay, you guys have to quarantine. Oh, you can come back out. No, you have to quarantine. Take your mask. No, take your mask off. Put your mask on. Vaccinate. Vaccination don't help. Like, it is, you don't know what to do, and I have anxiety, and it hasn't, thank God I didn't allow it to kind of like freak me out. But like in the beginning, like I was like, okay, like what to do? I need to protect my kids. We didn't go anywhere for like the first month, It's hard.
I would say definitely stay busy. Stay busy. Yeah. Even if you're in the house, like fine. I would say the only thing that was most challenging during that time was like, of course, like the schooling, and then like if you're working from home and stuff like that. But I can say where I found more relief, where I wasn't more so, like you say, that anxiety feeling, is really finding activities, like making fun within the home. Right. And I think that's really, even though it's bad, but it also is helping a lot of families come closer together, really interact. It's really forcing you to take that time to do whatever you need to do with your kids, or even if you don't have kids. But it also helps you self-assess on yourself too, because then you're like, all
and
this
I honestly
stuff
think that's
coming out.
I think that's the biggest part people want to avoid, which is why we do have as much depression and anxiety, because it takes a different perspective when these type of things happen. Because now you got to now you have to relinquish control, because this is something that is way out of everybody's control, right? But it's again, because it's out of our control, we're afraid of it. We don't know what to do, how to do, and that's how the whole world is operating right now, operating in the spirit of fear instead of a spirit of faith and power. So now it's like, it's a constant reminder, oh my gosh, and God, okay, but I thought I was in control of this. And so, like, I think we have to, as we engage in our activities, and as we, do all these different things, just constantly, remind ourselves, like, okay, I know this seems scary, but God is truly in control, even though, we don't understand all the ins and outs of this variant,
Yep. You said a mouthful. He is definitely in control of it. And we are not. And I think, like you say, it's really, I've seen it on both sides. Like you say, you see the good in it, and then you see the challenging part of it. You know, I feel like we all have something to relate to it in many ways, because like you guys said, somebody may be going through a mental breakdown. Another person may not go through a mental breakdown, but they're a social person. They like to be out. They like to interact with people, you know, so just really adjusting and shifting to what's happening. And, you know, being okay with, like you say, not having that control.
Yeah, totally. So, ladies, let's just go ahead and jump into our next segment. Thank you guys for all that feedback as well. You guys, the next segment we're going to jump into is politics. What do we have on politics for tonight, ladies?
Well, so I actually did some research after, I'm sure you guys have seen all of the stuff that's been going on with the Afghanistan and the U.S. forces, and I pretty much pulled up an amazing article in regards to like how Joe Biden is handling and what he's standing firm on. So it's Joe Biden is currently standing firm by his decision with withdrawing our U.S. forces from Afghanistan, despite all of the chaotic scenes and things that are going on. And he is rapidly seizing control over the situation. And behind his confidence as a political leader, he is making sure that things are being enforced, actions are being taken. As we all know with politics, with the Democrats and the Republicans, U.S. public will stick with him and enable him to weather a firestorm of criticism, not just for his Republican oppositions, but also for Democratic allies who promise to investigate failures surrounding the withdrawal that is going on right now. So my question to you guys in the audience is, how do you guys feel about the situations that's going on with the whole Afghanistan thing? And do you think that our president is taking the necessary actions as far as what's going on?
Well, I guess this is Keya. I guess coming from my point of view, I think that he's doing what he can do and what he's able to do. I can stand behind whatever decision that he does make, because he seems to be making logical decisions, not emotional decisions, and that he's thinking about everyone that it's going to impact and affect. So I really don't have any negative comments to say in reference to that. None other than, you know, I support what he's doing.
That's good.
Yeah, I support him in every way. He's just, since coming into office, the things that he talked about doing prior to, he's been a man of that word and doing just that. So another.
How do you guys feel about it? Like the whole Afghanistan situation right now, because it's sad.
I was just
it's
about
very
to say,
sad.
Yeah, very sad. It's like, it's devastating. And then, you know, with him deciding to pull our troops, I mean, how many troops have we lost? You know, and so for me, it's like up and down, I guess, because it's devastating what's happening, and we would love to have someone go and stop it. But at the same time, it's like we've already lost so many troops, and you know, so yeah. It's a really sensitive subject.
I'm kind of the way, because I just feel like, unfortunately, things in Afghanistan has been such turmoil for so long. It's just, at this point, I just don't know if we can be any help anyway. And even if we can, I feel like we doing the right thing by pulling us back until we at least have a more definite, you know, understanding of how, you know, to get out of all of that. Right. It's kind of funny. I was watching one of my little shows on Disney or whatever, but of it, one of the little girls was basically trying to figure out the purpose of war or whatever the case may be, right? Matter of fact, it's an old episode of The Facts of Life. That's what it was. And so she was trying, you know, she was a Bobby or Bo, I can't remember her name right now, but she was a teacher, and her students asked her what was the purpose of war. And basically she was saying that when people can't come to an agreement, that's when both sides, unfortunately decides to go to war. But sometimes it's to a point where peace can't be made, and we have to make harsh decisions. And I think this is unfortunately one of them cases where we just we sorry, but it's time for us to pull out.
Amen. That's
because
true.
If you're watching the news and you see how these people are just getting killed and just it's just too much, and it's just with no remorse, with none.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, and I'm watching it, and it's just unbelievable.
That is.
And then even with the other situation with those other people being stranded and not having any contact with anyone for a week, their families know nothing. No one knows what's going on with them. What kind of feeling is that? That's a horrible feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, I think that whatever he decides to do, he's doing things in a logical manner. Versus how our previous president would do things in an emotional type manner. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I definitely agree.
And thank you so much for bringing that to the forefront as well, Ashlee. Because
you're welcome, ladies.
We do have people listening in different countries, and this thing may be affecting them in certain ways. So thank you for bringing it up as well.
You're welcome. And I will just end and just say on that is, we're definitely praying for anyone that's going, whether they on whichever side, I'm all about peace and love, and God wants that. So, we support, and we're just sending love in any family's way right now, that's maybe have a family or whatever that's going through that. So.
You even though this is kind of off topic,
absolutely,
I also like to send love and peace, love, and light to those families over there in Haiti as well, because they just went through something traumatic as well, unexpectedly.
Yes.
I mean, I think the number was, if I'm not mistaken, 14,000 people are dead. I think that was the number. I could be mistaken, but it's a big number.
Yes.
And it was very unexpected. So peace and love and light to you guys as well, because
that's right.
Yeah, they were showing pictures and moments from it. That was horrible, you guys. Horrible. So you guys, let's jump into something more uplifting a little bit. That was very sentimental. Thank you so much for that, Ashlee. It's educational as well, because we do need to know those things and be more aware of those types of things, especially within the Black community, because we don't discuss topics like that. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed for us to have more knowledge about, politics and things like that, as well as health, education, and wellness. So, and that's the purpose of us creating this platform, is to have just that for our community. So you guys, let's jump right into our next topic, which is entertainment. I also skimmed through and was able to find a very interesting topic that related back to actually what we kind of stressed and what we focused on, which is mental health. And the article was focused on Selena Gomez. She opens up about her health struggle in the public eye. In the Elle cover magazine, the singer and actress spoke about her bipolar diagnosis and why she distanced herself from social media. This was something, you guys, that I didn't even know that she had. And looking at her, you would never be able to tell, but looking at anyone, you would never be able to tell that they had a mental health issue, which goes to show that you can't judge a book by its cover, Yeah, absolutely. In the Elle cover story published Thursday, the 29-year-old actress and singer said that she was affected by some of the responses when she entered a facility for mental health treatment in 2014 after being diagnosed with lupus. I didn't even know what they really believed what I was doing. Drugs, alcohol, running around, partying. The narrative was so nasty, she said. Gomez was also eventually undergoing a kidney transplant in 2017. Gomez has long been candid about her battles with anxiety and depression, and revealed last year that she had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Of her diagnosis, Gomez reflected, "I felt a huge weight lifted off of me when I found out. I could take a deep breath and go, okay, that explains so much." And I think, you guys, that says a lot right there, just within that short paragraph of what people with mental health go through. And then she goes on to say, After multiple struggles, she explained that helping people is really what kept me going. She said, there could have been a time when I wasn't strong enough and I would have done something to hurt myself. Gomez always shared that she stopped using social media because she could not find the purpose in posting photos. In 2017, she let her assistant take control of her social media account. However, Gomez still contributed her photos and quotes. The decision allowed her to take control of her mental health. This tiny little phone that had 150 million people on it, I just put it down, she said. That was such a relief for me. She now does things the old-fashioned way, calling her friends on the phone instead of waiting to hear about their life through Instagram. So, after hearing that, you guys, what are your thoughts on that, reflecting around social media, mental health, and all?
I definitely I loved it too. Like, it was really good, but it was so on point and it was so true, because this is something I can say from my own journey. Like, I was one of those people, never went through like bipolar diagnosis, but I started realizing what was triggering a lot of my emotions and a lot of my depression. And a lot of it really had to do with social media. And I had to take myself, after going through therapy and things like that, like, wait a minute, what changed? And like you said, sometimes we can't judge a book by what they look like on the outside, you know? It's so many people that are walking around here knowingly know they have a mental illness, or not knowingly know they have a mental illness, or just don't want to talk about it, because especially cultural-wise, African-American community, that's like, oh no, you know, they don't want to discuss that. It's shameful. And I just commend her. That's all I can say. Like,
and you know, what's so crazy is that she said that what kept her going was her giving back to others. That tends to be a thing for like a lot of people. You know, when you're going through things, when you find yourself giving back to others, it helps heal you as well. Go ahead, Kianna, you were about to say something.
That everything is on point, and as she kind of put the whole reason why I even started my mask off crowns on in the first place. Like, I wish I could have access to her, because that's the whole shebang right there. Learning yourself, learning, you know, again, like Ashlee said, our triggers, and because a lot of us are walking around in some type of depression, anxiety, high strung mode, whatever the case may be. And like Ashlee said, some of us may know it and just not dealing with it at all. Just completely don't know it at all. And you just living in this function. And I'm so glad she was able to find her peace, because that takes us back to the first story. A lot of people are taking themselves out. Others, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are succumbing to those emotions, to those they don't understand about themselves. So it's very, again, why we have to keep going and making sure this knowledge and this understanding gets out to everybody, because it's like, you don't be alone, and you definitely don't have to suck into this social media world that says this is supposed to be this way, or that looks that way, or whatever the case may be. Like, you know yourself, and if it's a trigger for you, please step back. I urge you. I take breaks regularly because my mental state, you know.
Right.
I do too, sis.
You have to know that social media is not real, you know, like, you know, like, people have a really difficult time with that. You know, they see couples taking pictures, but you don't know, you know, if she just got punched in the stomach after the picture, you know what I mean? Like, you have no idea what the situation is. And so, you know, like, really having to keep that in our mind, like, social media is not real. It's not real. You know, we put on, you know, like, our best face for the camera, but you have no idea, you know, like, what's going on.
And the crazy part is, now we live in a society where even when you do share the real, it's like you're not, oh my God, like, why are you, that's too much, or you're too vulnerable. And I'm like, no, people need to see that vulnerability, because they need to see that it's real. You know, they don't need to see this pretty picture all the time. Like, and like her as a celebrity, you know, I love, especially when celebrities come out with stuff like that, because it shows their vulnerability to like, hey, I'm human just like you are. Don't put me on this platform. And, you know, and sometimes we do that. You know, people think the more money people have or the neighborhoods they live in, that sets them aside, and that doesn't. You know, just because you're rich and you're famous does not mean that you don't have problems. And just because you're in poverty and poor don't mean that you ain't happy neither, because that ain't got nothing to do with it.
Can you say that again?
For real, right?
Rewind and repeat.
Yes, honey.
Y'all better leave me alone. But I'm just saying, seriously.
But it's the truth. Listen, that is the truth. And all that stuff that she went through with Justin Bieber. So, and people were just dogging her like crazy. So I could not even imagine, like, she's probably like, no, please take my phone away, because just that by itself, she can be seen eating a turkey sandwich, and the tabloids, they're right there, they're on you, and they just create this story and people just run with it, and they're commenting on your pictures and they're just going in on you. So I'm so glad that she decided, like, you know what, I don't need to be a part of social media.
That's true. Exactly. And you know what? I used to think that like you have to have, now I'm still getting used to the whole social media, but I was watching a documentary on this like really wealthy, rich man. And he was just sharing like how he grew his platform and his business without social media. And he's like a trillionaire. And I'm like, wow, you know, when we live in this world that promotes that you got to do this, you have to share this. And he was basically talking about kind of like what you just said, you know, Shontae, like you have these press people over you. You can't even eat in peace. And it's just so much. And he didn't want that kind of attention. And he's still successful.
And you know what? Someone also taught me as well that it doesn't matter about the number of followers, the amount you share, the amount you post. That's why I'm not so can't on like posting like all the time, like how I was before when I initially started, because it's all about the content. It's more so about the content. Yeah, if you're producing the content and things that people need to hear, want to hear, it doesn't matter if you post once a month. People are going to look forward to hearing what you have to say that one time per month.
Say it again,
you know,
girl.
It's all about that. You know, once you learn that, then you'll be on your way, you know? So that's
true. Because I think that social media thing will put you in anxiety. Because, you know, you hear people say, you got to post 3 and 4 times a day. It put me, I ain't gonna lie. I was one of those when I was like, I can't do that. I can't
do it because I lose track. And then I get mad if somebody unfollow my stuff because I'm like, I did all this hard work. So like at some point you do, and it does become like what she said. Like, you know, as we go back to the article, you guys, it goes right back to what she says. It does play on your mental health if you feed too much into it. So you have to have some type of balance. And that's why, you know, I do go on my little spiritual maintenance where I just cut it off for a while. I don't care how many people stop following and things like that, because the people that are meant to stay, they will stay. You know, you have to learn that. Because you also need your piece of serenity at some point to be able to give back and pour back into others. So,
that's good, lady.
And confidence and all that come in, because it's like, you know what? I don't have to do all this. Like,
Come on.
It's life and all else. So if I can post today, great, I'm gonna post. But if not, if the Lord got me doing other stuff today, then that's fine too. I'm gonna be in this moment and I'm gonna have me some joy. Okay. So that was
how many
article.
Yes.
How many times I done Go ahead. No, I was just saying, so how many times I'm like, oh, like, let me do a pattern. Okay, or maybe I shouldn't do a pattern. Okay, quote, picture. I'm like, I don't have nothing to say to put as a quote. Now, I'm just posting a picture, okay? And if I go 7 days without posting, then I come back with 20 less followers, that's fine.
That's fine. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
My brain power can't even think. Like, when people like, you got to put captions, and I'm like, listen, why can't I just post a picture and you just like if I gotta put that much to that, and like you say, it goes back to realize like, dang, okay, what are we really doing it for? Or what is the purpose behind it? You know, even when people, you know, and I get it, you know, they like your content has to look a certain way, and I get it, especially when you're building a brand, you know, but at the same time, it's like, dang, I gotta do all this, you know, I gotta, you know, put my makeup on, I gotta put my hair on, I gotta, I got like now.
I'm just trying to give people some resources. Look, I'm just trying to give people some resources. That's all.
That's it.
Yeah.
You see people dancing. I mean, people you'll never expect. I'm like, dang, they TikToking and dancing.
Right. Like, I'm trying to learn all the TikTok dances.
I don't even know how to
work it. That is it.
And then the photo shoots. They like, you must have photo shoots. If you don't take this selfie next to my plant, that's what I got. You're going to get. Okay?
Y'all better listen. Our audience better understand that. Listen, if y'all like that about social media, listen here. We love you either way. We ain't gonna judge you, but listen.
Oh no, right?
We gonna stick beside you. We gonna stick beside.
Don't stick beside.
You know what? That's what we should start asking. We should do like a scale. Like, what is your mental health level when you're on social media and when you're not on social media? Do you find yourself more productive or not productive? Because I'm pretty sure if we did a poll for that, I'm pretty sure most people got some of those same issues.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of people. I know I get more done when I don't think about social media because I'm thinking of more things that I can do to help myself grow.
That's true.
Right.
With certain things that I'm doing. So yeah, I agree.
You just be in the zone more.
I didn't hear that. Go ahead. Let's say it again, lady.
We be at peace.
Okay, yeah, you be at peace. Definitely peace. And speaking of peace, that's a good segue into our last segment for tonight, which is spirituality.
Hey.
Let's jump right into spirituality.
Yes. So I found a super dope article, which I definitely feel is going to be helpful to us as well as our audience. Tips on why spirituality is critical for success in entrepreneurship. Steve Jobs, one of the most successful entrepreneurs, had a deep and strong spiritual life. Spirituality worked for him. Here are 5 tips on how spirituality can equal success. 1, set your intentions on your business and be clear about your goals. The universe will assist with achievement. I like to use God instead of universe, but it's all the same. Number 2, mind your thoughts. Having a healthy mindset by practicing gratitude. Avoid negative self-talk and keep in mind that what you think comes into reality. So I tell my children all the time, it's in the Bible, what you speak, what you think, okay? Number 3, ask for signs. Ask God for a sign that you're going down the right path. If you are connected to the Holy Spirit, he will be so loud. Okay, so
and that's on period.
Right. Number 4, lead with your soul. Be self-aware. Know your motives, goals, and expectations of self. Meditation really, really helps with this. Number 5, detach. If you can surround yourself with talented team members, then you'll be able to trust them with a portion of your work. So, which I noticed that some people may hire someone to create their website for them or to do their content, whatever. And I'm going to end with a quote by Deepak Chopra. He advised us to list our desires, then release the list of desires and surrender it to the womb of creation, trusting that when things don't seem to go my way, there is a reason, and that the cosmic plan has designs for a much grander than even those I can conceive.
Yes.
That was a great
perfect
article.
That was
perfect. I agree with every part of it because I literally practiced everything you just said.
Yes, same.
Yes.
So,
me too.
Yeah, everything literally like step by step. That's exactly what I do. Step by step.
Too.
So yeah.
And I would say it's perfect.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
It just reminded me of one quote by my. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Shontae.
No. Go ahead.
Finish.
No. But what has helped me? I work with a life coach, and I joined an accountability group, and she pretty much speak about those same things. And then there's other people. We're all just kind of like vibing and like building and supporting each other. You know what I mean? To keep these mindsets, in order.
And it does
help.
And
especially
one thing that
growing
you said
a team.
about words, and the one thing you said about words, because words are powerful. you have to be careful of what you think, because what you think about, you bring about, that whole type of thing. So that's really important. That's why, when you think negative, you get more of negativity. When you think positive, you're going to attract more of that. You have to adapt that type of mind frame when you're trying to, manifest or intent to bring certain things into your life. You have to think that way. And again, once you pray about it, you have to let it go. Let it go, because then you're trusting. And you only have to have the what of a what? Mustard seed. So and how tiny is that? You know what I mean? You just have to believe. You have to believe and let go. And I struggled with that in my 20s, because I always wanted to have control. But then once I started getting more into my spirituality and then learning more about God and having faith, and really having faith and not just saying that I have it, but really having it, then things started to happen. And I'm like, I'd be like, oh my God, I know that was God. That was number God. Like, that was God.
Yeah.
That was God. You start getting more excited. You start getting more excited because then you start knowing. And then with the knowing, you start having more faith. And I think that's just, with me, that's
as we had 1111.
Okay.
Amen.
Certain things like that in my life, and I just, with that, I've grown and I continue to grow in it. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. Sometimes I do struggle with having faith in certain situations, but then I have to remind myself, girl, find a positive in it. Like, stop tripping, you tweaking, I have to remind myself of that and think about times where I thought that I couldn't get out of situations, or when I was just at my lowest, but then I prayed about it and things just happened. And I'm gonna tell you guys a story really quick. It's so crazy because I'm such a strong believer in that in my past, someone once told me, God always blesses you. Like, they just feel like that, but it's because I just tell them, like, no, you just gotta believe it. You gotta believe it. It's not about he just picks me to bless me. It's because I believe it. I believe it. I pray to him. I have a prayer closet, all that. I don't mind sharing that. I have a prayer closet, all that type of thing. And I find time to go and talk to him, just like how I'm talking to you guys. I don't dress it up. I don't change who I am. You know what I mean? He knows who I am. So I go and I tell him, guys, man, these ladies at the job was tripping today. Like, for real. I'm being my true self. He knows my heart. And in doing that, I'm telling you guys, I got through so many difficult situations. But when I separated, me and my kid's dad separated, that helped me so much. Get back to my true self, because I was so lost. I was so in a dark place, like isolated myself from my friends, my family, everything, and started praying in the morning time, in the evening time, doing a routine, being consistent with it, even still doing it now to this day. And my daughters watching me do it and them wanting to do it. You know what I mean? So that helped me so much to get to where I am now. And like, that's why I love trying to help other people, because don't feel ashamed or embarrassed because of anything you've ever been through. Because if you have faith, God will get you through it. He did it for me. I told you, he did it for me. Why wouldn't he do it for you? You have to believe that. But I can keep going on and on and on about it, guys. Because
girl, you better testify, honey. Because that's the truth. He really will do it. So, baby, when he flowing through you, let the spirit flow through you. Don't never feel like you have to tell anybody you speak it to, like, hey, I can go on and on, because sometimes you have to, like, that's why God, when he does blesses us, he does it so that he can be glorified, not for us to be glorified. You're glorifying him. So what you're sharing with your testimony, we see him through you, and that's all that he wants. He don't want nothing else but for his will to be done. And like you just said, what you do is bigger than you. Your kids are watching, other people are watching, and that's all that our assignment is to do. Even when we're in business, I know that is the number one thing. I tell people all the time, my business was not built by money. It wasn't built by all these things that the world tell you. It was built on God's ground. God gave me the vision, but I didn't start it with anything. I started to plant whatever God instilled in me into my business. And I have staff that say that, like, I can go work anywhere, but the experience I will never get. And to have someone to pray with them, they can vent to, they can be open and vulnerable with their own. And I'm like, hey, I'm vulnerable today too. Or even have a staff that could pray for you sometime, because as leaders, you get weak. So when you're weak, you need other people to pray. It's times when my staff will pray for me and I'm like, God, I thank you. I thank you for them, that they able to use their tongue to speak for me today, because I didn't have the words to say. And I definitely can agree with you on that prayer room. That's what I have in my house. I have a whole prayer room, and I would not walk into my day without praying. I would not walk into my day without serving him first before anything, because God is the way. And that's what this world, what we're doing right now as sisterhood, as women, we're showing more and more people that this is what God wants. This is the assignment. The assignment is that. And everything you testify, baby, you're in this. So when people see you, they don't just see you, they see God through you. And guess what? You can bring more people to him through you and what you represent and what you show. Like you said, hey, God, these girls trying me today at work or whatever, because that's how he wants us to come. He don't want us to be. That's why I call myself ratchet to righteous, honey, because God like both sides. He like, listen, you cutting up today, and he speaks to you in that. One thing about it, God will convict you when you're wrong.
I'm trying.
You, and he be like, nah, wait a minute, now you going too far. But just understanding that, like you said, those 5 tips that you shared and what she just said, is so needed. And I think people need to know that more, because you got so many people that are trying to go into entrepreneurship and they're trying to do everything that their coach may be telling them. But I always tell people, how is your coach grounded? What are they doing? Because not everybody is on good soil. Not everybody. You got money-driven people that are people of the world, and then you got people that are for the kingdom. So when you're driven with kingdom principles, then it's different. Your favor, your lifestyle is different. Yes. It's going to reflect different, and that is more that we have to show, because like we said in all the topics, you got social media trying to take us out. You got all these things that's trying to come in. So being able to show people the importance that spirituality, that's the number one key. It ain't no other way. I would
There's no other way.
If you don't have a spiritual life, you need to get one. If you don't have one, you need to get one.
Yeah, and then
I've said it time and time again. I don't see how people live without one. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Me neither. Go ahead, Kianna.
No, I'll just say I don't see how people do see how people get along without one. Not very well, again, because we see the depression, everything going up and everything, and it's just, for me, that's my grounding, that's my source, because that's the only thing that gives me joy, is to know that I am living this life not of myself, but because God has placed me here, the universe has placed me here, whatever again you want to call the spiritual being. But I'm not just here for me. I'm not here on accident. I'm not here out of time and out of sync, which was one of my biggest things. I thought I was in the wrong time period, low key, because I'm like, I'm such an old school person. I have
we confirmed that earlier. Kianna.
Look, but for real, that
you ain't old school.
Look, honey,
you're set apart. You're just set apart.
Yes. Absolutely. And it took me a while to know that, though. I thought, that I was born out of time, out of place. I was a mistake. I mean, I said all this on my first, like, those were the thoughts that I was constantly telling myself, because I never felt like I fit in, anywhere around me. And it wasn't until God opened my eyes and showed me I meant to fit in anyway that I started finally being flourishing and being who I was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And just like you said, Ashlee, again, you got the money-driven people. And it's hard when you them, because all they so concerned about is business and money, and I'm doing this, and I'm clouding, and I'm going here, and I'm doing this. But I'm like, that's not my focus. Great that God has given me all these things. I'm so grateful. But
something with those people, their soul ain't healed. Their soul is not healed. Those kind of people. They put on that presentation on the outside, but internally their soul's not healed.
I want to go back to one of the things, I don't know exactly how you worded it, Shontae, in your article, but my spiritual mentor, she always says that if you're the smartest one in the group, then you need to find a different group. And I'm just gonna let you guys think on that, audience. If you're the smartest one in the group, then you need to find a different group. Because you're always wanting to be around someone that's going to inspire you to want to reach a different level of being. And it's important in knowing that, of being around those certain people, and knowing, like you said, Ashlee, how those people are grounded. Because if those people are grounded, those people are going to help you reach levels that you have not even near surpassed or want to surpass. They will help you get to different levels and things like that. She emphasizes that over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I think that's really important with anything, and in spirituality as well. If you're surrounded by a group of people that are so in depth about spirituality, and you're the smartest one, then you need to be surrounded by someone else, because there's something more that you can learn, because you haven't learned everything you can learn about spirituality.
Yes.
I don't think, you know what I mean? I don't think no one can ever learn as much as they think they possibly can, because I continuously learn something new. The more I get, the more I age, the more I go through different things, the more ways and the more different versions of the Bible that I read, I learn different things in different ways. So, you know, Amen. I think that's an ongoing and continuous progress and process, I would say. And I don't know, that your article was like really good. Every point is like really good, and showing gratitude, and that goes all the way back to what Ashlee said. Like, that's the first thing that you should always do. But even when I go to bed at night, I say thank you for the blessings that I have seen, and are yet to come, because I know, I have faith that you're gonna do it for me.
That's right.
I know it. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to. I know. You know.
And what a lot of people just like thinking about what he has already brought you through.
Right.
You know, like that's the thing. Like, I have seen myself like, okay, I'm going through a struggle right now. And I just sit down, open up my Bible, and before I can even get to the scripture, it's already in my mind. You've been through this, you came through it. You've been through that, and I brought you through it. So we have to always just try our best to remember God's word and remember what he has already brought you through. He has already brought you through this. So just know that he's there. He's going to bring you through whatever situation that's going to come to you. You know,
and I always say it's always a lesson. When you're in those moments, I always say, like, for me, I stop and just be like, Lord, what lesson is it that you're trying to teach me right now? Because it's always a lesson in that moment that you're going through. So you like, why am I going through this test now? It must be something I need to learn, or it must be something that I'm out of alignment with. And it don't be something bad. It just be something, it could be like more discipline. Like, I'm in that season. Like, God's like, okay, I'm taking you to this level, so I need you more disciplined in this way that you used to, the way you thought I'm going to bless you this way, I'm not going to bless you like that this time. So I'm expecting a different pattern from you, a different way, you know, like in prayer. I used to get up at like 5 a.m. to go pray, and now God has shifted me at a different time, in a different environment. I'm like, okay, it's a little different, but it's uncomfortable, but I know it's for good. I know it's for his plan.
Growth.
For growth purposes. So I don't mind. I always say, Lord, let me decrease so that you can increase, because I already know if I dimmy down myself, because it's not my will, it's your will, then once people start processing it in that mindset, they can understand. Because a lot of people's like, well, I don't know God, or I can't get to know. You can, but you have to let yourself go. And that's what it's all about, is when you let yourself go and surrender yourself and allow him to build you up, then everything else is gonna flow. And I've seen it done multiple times. And then when I go through a test, I always just say, what is the lesson that I need to learn? Because I'm going through this for a reason.
And you know, actually what I've learned, piggybacking off of what you're saying, is that if you don't tend to learn the lesson, you will repeat it until you learn that lesson. And that's different ways. It may be in different ways, shapes, forms, and fashion. But until you learn that lesson, you're gonna repeat it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I had to stop being that way myself and do what you just said. Understand that there's no losses. There's always lessons. No L's. Lessons.
Come on.
I'm learning what do I need? What did I do? What do I need to take away from this? Like, okay, what did I do wrong? Get it? How did that? What was my approach? The other way around, vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
Like, sometimes you guys, you have in those instances and circumstances, you decide whether or not to cut ties with certain people, situations, and things like that. But that's the lesson in it. That's the lesson in it.
And that's when you'll start knowing where it's coming from. Because I noticed all opportunities, and I've just this clicked to me in months, that sometimes we have things that come, and I always say, and I hate to use the word like the enemy or Satan, but I always say you can discern what's God's blessing versus what's the world's blessing. Because one thing about when God gives it to you, it don't come with so many roadblocks. It don't come with so many things. But when the enemy gives it to you, it's always some type of heaviness, and you're just like, wait a minute. And I've even had to do that even in myself in business. I've had to realize, like, not all business opportunities are for you. All money ain't good money. And I've had to say no. I've had to be like, dang, that sounds good. But when I go into my prayer room, God said, that ain't what I got for you. That's not it. And I've had to be okay with saying no, dealing with the suffering and just going through and waiting. Some people don't want to wait because we live in this impatient, they want it so quick. And I'm like, okay, you rather go take, we'll use loans, for example, $100,000 loan, when God already say, that's gonna put you in more debt than you already is, but you're gonna take it because it look good, but then you take it because it's easy, and then now you put yourself and lose everything in the process. So when we start getting more spiritually tapped in, you will be able to make better decisions in business.
Amen. And like, and you know, again, our audience, we don't have it all figured out. We're still growing and learning as well. We're growing and learning as well. But again, it's like what Ashlee said, once you get to that point, you'll see exactly what each and every last one of us are experiencing and talking about.
I'm pretty sure they have. Ladies, honestly, I think our audience, definitely, if they're listening to this type of podcast, they're probably already there and more. But the thing is, one of my favorite quotes that I just want to leave with us before you close us out, Keya, is by Abraham Hicks, and it just simply says, we will never get it all done, and we are never. So no matter where you are in life and no matter what's going on, you are exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're going to go exactly where you're supposed to go. So sweat it, don't stress it, just know you're not getting it wrong. You, like we all just said, everybody has their lessons, and some of us may have to repeat our lessons umpteen times. But that's
amen.
Enjoy your blessings. Enjoy your blessings. Enjoy it all. It's your life. It's my life. Lord knows I'm the queen of butt whoopers. I done had so many butt whoopers in my life. I'm like, Lord,
you me too.
And I had to roll with it and keep it going. Okay.
But you're strong though. You are strong.
We all are, you know.
That's okay. Thank you for that. That's a good way to close us out for tonight. And audience, that right there brings us to the end of this episode. And we would like to thank you for joining us. We hope that you were able to hear some beneficial information to help you along your journey. If you enjoyed our show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to come back next Saturday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And with that being said, always remember, you are a bomb within your own shell. Peace, love, and light, you guys. Until next time, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure you subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Rate, review, and share this podcast with your family and friends. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're leaving with some valuable information that can help you on your personal journey. Also, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Bombshell1111 or at Bombshell1111 TV. You can also check out our mental health page, Your Health is Your Wealth, on Facebook, which is a page created to inform and support individuals with mental health and other health conditions. And with that being said, always remember, you guys, you are a bomb within your own shell. And until next time, peace, love, and light.